Eating 30 different plants every week can be an absolute game changer for your longevity. Essentially what it does is it improves your gut health, that can lower inflammation. And because inflammation is such a driving force behind many diseases of modernity, it can prevent things like cardiovascular disease and even dementia. But what do we even mean by 30 plants every single week? Well, essentially what we're referring to are getting 30 different plant-based foods, things like fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, herbs, and spices across your diet in each 7 days. Essentially what this all does is it adds variety to your diet. Each plant-based food, like a fruit or vegetable, let's say an apple and a broccoli, contributes one single plant point each week. And every herb and spice still contributes to your plant points, but just in a smaller amount. They contribute around a quarter. And the aim of the game is to try and get as many plant points as possible throughout each 7 days. So why is this related to health benefits? Well, there are 3 core reasons as to why getting 30 plants every single week is a game changer for your health. The first one is diversity. Your gut microbiome thrives on getting diverse foods to feed the variety of different microbes that exist in your gut. Now, if you've heard me talk about the gut microbiota before, you know I'm referring to the microbes that live all around our body, from viruses, bacteria, nematodes, fungi, but are largely concentrated in the large intestine. The large intestine is also known as the colon. And in this population, you'll find all those different mixes of critters, and it's responsible for sugar regulation, inflammation control, immunity. Everything is housed in this incredible organism, which is essentially its own organ, and it has projections and communications with various parts of your body, from your brain to your skin to your eyes and other parts of your nervous system as well. It is absolutely critical. And what it thrives on is diversity of foods. All those different types of critters almost like have their favorite meals. And what you're trying to do is trying to provide as many favorite meals as possible to all those different bugs. So the more diverse your diet, the more diverse your gut microbiota is. Now, the primary evidence looking at diversity in the 30 plant points every single week actually comes from the American Gut Project, which is a large citizen science project that had over 10,000 people involved. And what they found is that people who had more different types and varieties of plants in their diet had a much more diverse microbiota, which is exactly what we're aiming for. And over 30 plant points every single week, they had more diverse microbiotas compared to those who only had 10 plant points. You've got to start thinking about your gut microbiota as this incredible ecosystem that thrives on diversity. So think about those different fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds as different opportunities to feed different types of microbes that will benefit your health. When it's whole food, when it's a whole plant-based food, which is what this plant-based system is all about, that is key to knowing that you're on the right track, knowing that you're doing the best that you can for this gut microbiota population. Each different plant that you consume actually contributes to various types of beneficial bacteria, and these produce something called short-chain fatty acids, or SCFAs, as you might have seen them referred to as. These include butyrate, acetate, propionate, and these have unique roles in the gut, one of which is to nourish the gut colonocytes, the gut cells. It provides them energy, it provides them a cushion lining, it supports that lining that actually is responsible for ensuring the correct nutrients are actually transported into your bloodstream. This is something called the gut barrier or the intestinal barrier. And the pathogens, the things that should be staying in your gut are staying in your gut. So you've got a more robust gut lining and less leakiness, which is the colloquial term for something that's referred to in the literature as intestinal hyperpermeability. A diverse gut microbiota is linked to a number of different things. Improved digestion, improved nutrient absorption, so exactly what I was just talking about, making sure you're letting the right nutrients in. Enhanced immune function as well. So you've got a diverse microbiota, you've got a more pragmatic and a powerful immune system that is appropriate. So it's not hyper responding, and you're not going to get something that is going to be inappropriate to the insult. You've also got better regulation of inflammation, which is why diversity and getting all these different unique fibers is important for lowering inflammation, which is the driving force behind many conditions. Another thing that we know is that if your gut is working well, it has a positive impact on your mood. You've got a diverse microbiota, you've got a healthy, thriving micropopulation. It communicates to your brain that everything's nice and fine and dandy, and that manifests as lower incidences of anxiety and an improved mental picture. This is something that is established in the literature and more people should know about. So diversity is absolutely key, and getting 30 plant points helps you with that diversity goal. The second thing that getting 30 plant points helps you with is getting a nice range of different nutrients. So when you consume fruits, vegetables, nuts and seeds, you're not just getting micronutrients, the vitamins and minerals, of which there are 20 odd, that we classically review diets looking through that lens of micronutrients. There are polyphenols, there are all these different plant chemicals, of which there are thousands of which you find in fruit, vegetables, nuts and seeds, things like quercetin, anthocyanins that you find in berries, resveratrol that we find in red wine and peanuts and grape skins. There are so many different types of plant chemicals that you're going to be exposing yourself to when you consume 30 plant points every single week. Each food is essentially bringing its own positive energy to the table. It's bringing building blocks that strengthen different areas of your health. And these, along with the micronutrients, have been shown to improve weight control, improve blood pressure. So getting that diversity of different nutrients is something that we know can protect our health in many different ways. And this essentially all coalesces into the third main thing, which is longevity, which is what this video is all about, which is why I'm such a fan of getting 30 plants every single week into your diet. Longevity is key. And the reason why this 30 plant point strategy that has a positive effect on your gut, has a positive effect on the range of nutrients that you can consume, manifests in longevity, literally being shown in some of the studies that I'll review in a second, I'll tell you about in a second, can manifest as improved longevity is because it lowers the risk of cardiovascular disease. It lowers the risk of dementia. It can actually prevent things like type 2 diabetes as well. This is key to all the things that everyone wants to experience, which is a healthier, longer life. In prospective cohort studies, they've shown that maintaining high dietary diversity, which is essentially what the system does for us, is linked to a lower mortality rate overall. And this is even seen after the age of 80. So it's never too late to actually put in place this 30 plant point system. Essentially, what this does is help you eat across the core plant groups of fruit, vegetables, nuts, seeds, herbs, and spices. And we know that this can add up to a decade of life extension, of healthy years, not just life span, but health span as well, which is actually what everyone wants. So getting a good mix of plants into your diet is not just going to make you feel better. It's not just going to reduce inflammation. It could help you live a longer, healthier life too. But the big question is, all right, I get it. I'm sold. I have 30 plant points. I want to try and get 30 plants into my diet. This sounds difficult. How on earth am I going to do it? So what I'm going to talk to you about today is some strategies, some hacks, some simple shortcuts that I use every single week to try and hit 30 plant points into my diet. Aiming for variety can feel a little bit overwhelming. We're creatures of habit and we tend to reach for the same foods every single week, but I'm going to show you how easy it is to switch it up in the kitchen every time you are thinking about what you're going to be eating for the week. So come with me in the kitchen and I'm going to show you some of these tips and hacks. The first thing I want you to do, no, you've got to come with me to the pantry, sorry. The first thing I want you to do is think about mastering your weekly shopping. So whenever I do my weekly shopping, I'm thinking of, okay, what are the fruits and vegetables I'm going to be consuming this week? But I also want you to think about toppers. So come with me, Mitch. Toppers are sunflower seeds, hemp seeds. These are things that don't actually have to have anything to do with the recipe you're cooking. And they're just like a little sprinkle on top. It's just another way of adding that plant point. And officially, Plant points don't actually have a dose. So you can put a sprinkle of hemp seeds into your diet and that actually corresponds as a plant point. I think that's a kind of cheating. So I'd want you to really aim for at least a couple of tablespoons or a cup of cooked vegetables to at least qualify as a plant point. But officially the system doesn't actually cater for that. So when I'm thinking about adding toppers, I'm thinking of cheap, versatile options that you can get onto your shopping list to have for that week. Sunflower seeds, pine nuts, hazelnuts, almonds, walnuts. These are things that you can use as toppers to your food, as snacks. Always keep some in your pocket, or in your bag. Like, these are simple ways in which to add that diversity to your diet. The other thing is herbs and spices. Now you'll see over here in the Doctor's Kitchen Pantry, we have a range of different herbs and spices. And these contribute at least a quarter plant point. So it's an easy way of just nudging up the plant points ever so slightly every single week. And these, don't forget, and you'll know from the videos that I've done on YouTube and on the podcast, that these are powerful sources of polyphenols, anti-inflammatory chemicals. There are some chemicals in here that can be anti-diabetic. They can improve your ability to burn off fat marginally, but still adding to your overall burn of calories, and that way you're improving your overall health as well. So don't sleep on adding oregano and sage. Don't sleep on adding cumin seeds with some chili flakes. These are easy ways in which you can just quickly bump up the plant points by adding a quarter point at a time. I always keep basics on hand. So things like turmeric, chili, cumin, fennel seeds. These are simple things that you can add to multiple different recipes. And if you want some advice or some inspirational recipes, make sure you check out the Doctor's Kitchen app. The link is down below. The other thing I always want you to think about changing up are your base whole grains. So things like short grain brown rice. You've got amaranth at the back here. This is something I absolutely love. This is teff. Teff grain is a grain that's grown in Ethiopia. It's really high in iron. It's actually one of the highest grain sources of iron, and it's high in fiber and protein. These are fantastic. You can get it in white as well. And then also things like oats. I know people don't like oats anymore because of the blood sugar spiking effect, but if you're looking for good oats, you want to be looking at pinhead oats that actually have a lot of the avenin, the beta-glucans, those cholesterol-lowering properties, but they are in a whole form that won't spike your blood sugar, and it's really, really high in fiber as well. Pulses are incredibly versatile as well. So things like mung dal, red lentils, beans. We've got plenty of beans down here as well. If you just come down with me here. So we've got chickpeas, we have black beans. These are all great sources of carbohydrates that have a bit of protein in as well, but tons of fiber. These are butter beans that I always have in my diet every single week. And you can rotate through these as well. If you don't like chickpeas or you want to experiment with black beans because you have chickpeas all the time, think about getting different pulses into your diet. These are really easy ways in which you can add diversity and bump up those plant points by just mixing it up throughout the whole week. So that's my first tip. Master your shopping list. It is a really simple way in which you can preserve and ensure that you're going to be getting diversity across the spectrum of different ingredients that you shop for in the supermarket. The second thing is try to challenge yourself to a new vegetable of the week. Make sure you're doing a great job of moving backwards. We're going to open this fridge here because I don't actually know what's in the fridge. We're going to find out a new vegetable of the week. Squash. So genuinely, I didn't know that this was in the fridge. Squash is something that's in season right now. You've got different varieties of squash. We have acorn, prince, delica. There's a whole bunch of different squashes out there. If you don't know how to use it, do yourself a favor, type in the ingredient into the Doctor's Kitchen app or on the website, and we have tons of recipes that will show you how to use different ingredients. But think about what is seasonal and what you don't usually have in your diet. It's a great way to mix it up and challenge yourself to making new recipes. And that is going to add to the diversity of your diet and bump up those plant points as well. And if you're interested in what is seasonal, make sure you sign up to the Seasonal Sundays newsletter that we do every single week for free. That will give you an insight into something that is seasonal, that is absolutely delicious, and the history behind those ingredients as well. We'll put the sign up link down below so you know where to subscribe online. It's completely free. A veg box is also a great way of adding diversity to your diet as well. So if you are struggling to find a new vegetable in your supermarket or your grocery store, look for a veg box. They tend to send you what the farmers have grown and they need to get rid of. So again, that's a good way of adding diversity to your diet as well.
Just a quick one. If you want to learn the 5 ingredients that I think are fantastic for inflammation that you should be getting into your diet every week, then download this PDF right now. It's in the link down there, and I'll send you my 5 ingredients for inflammation.
Let's summarize those 2 things. So we've got your master shopping list. So you want to make sure you master that. You want a new veggie of the week. So new veggie. The other thing is rotate your base. What do I mean by that? So your base ingredient, whether that's brown rice or barley, rotate that, change that, switch it up a little bit. Like instead of using brown rice, maybe you want to use quinoa. Instead of using amaranth, maybe you want to use buckwheat. This is a simple swap that you can do throughout the week as well to just bump up that plant point. And if your base is a vegetable, something like kale, you can replace that and change it up for salad, like spinach or rocket leaves instead. So think about rotating your base. It's a really simple strategy for increasing those plant points. The 4th one is one for my TikTok fans out there. So the simple thing is to top, stir, and side. Think about topping, stirring, and side. That's your TikTok dance there. You want to top your meals with something different like sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, whatever it might be. You want to stir in something like peanut butter or almond butter into your curry, for example, or a stew, and you want to side. You want a different side for your recipe. Nice slide there, Mitch. You want a side for your recipe, whether that's greens on the side or pumpkin roasted on the side or some sweet potatoes on the side. Remember that, my TikTok fans, top, stir, side. Top, stir, side. Good one, Mitch. We didn't rehearse that. So this is just a really easy way of adding some diversity in a fun way. And that way you can do this little dance in the kitchen. Just top, stir, and side. I'm going to write that down. You're not going to forget that now. Topping, stirring, siding. It's something that everyone, the whole family can get involved, whether you're a millennial, Gen Z, or I'm not Gen Z as you can tell, or a boomer. Thinking about topping, stirring, and siding it off. And the bonus one, as this is the Doctor's Kitchen podcast, the Doctor's Kitchen YouTube channel, we love spices. So do make sure that you are spicing it up. Just like I said with your master shopping list, make sure you're adding spices at every opportunity, whether it's nutmeg, whether it is cinnamon, whether it is having a turmeric drink with a little bit of raw honey in there. Like, just think about getting spices into your diet as often as possible. It all contributes to these 30 plant points every single week. And if you want to know a little bit more about 30 plant points, we've done an article on the Doctor's Kitchen as well that can show you how you can make simple swaps using porridge and then amplifying it just to bump up those plant points. And if you're looking for inspiration for recipes, make sure you check out the Doctor's Kitchen app. The link is down below. We'll give you a 7-day meal plan for free as well. I've got plenty of questions here that we tend to get around this concept of plant points. Can increasing plant points help with weight management? The answer is yes. So basically what happens is increasing plant consumption increases the amount of fiber you consume and lowers the amount of calories that you consume, so the energy that we get from food, because essentially it's pushing out things like meats and other nutrient, they are nutrient dense, but they're also calorie dense ingredients. So this lower calorie density is the simplest explanation as to why having more plants into your diet that can be encouraged with this 30 plant point strategy can actually improve your weight control. The other thing about fiber is that it encourages your gut microbes to essentially produce natural GLP-1. It signals to your brain that you are full and you're less likely to overconsume, again encouraging a lower calorie consumption. So lower calories in your diet, which ultimately leads to improvement in weight control. And it also does things like stabilize your blood sugar levels just from the increase in fiber that you're consuming. In fact, there was a 16-week randomized clinical trial that found that a low-fat, plant-based diet led to an average loss of 6.5 kilograms and reduced fat mass by 4.5 kilograms just after 16 weeks. So yes, absolutely, these plant points and this plant point strategy can encourage a healthier weight and natural weight management without actually calorie counting itself. Should you take green supplements to increase your plant points? No. So a green supplement or any supplement cannot contribute to a plant point. The only way in which you get plant points are from these categories of foods: fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, herbs and spices. You can get things like dehydrated fruits and vegetables, like freeze-dried ingredients in small amounts. They don't count. The only things that count are actually whole herbs, spices, whether they're dried or fresh, and then the whole nuts, seeds, fruits and vegetables. Those are the only things that count. So green powders do not. Can increasing plant points improve my cholesterol and unclog my arteries? It can absolutely improve your cholesterol. So increasing plant points will increase the consumption of fruit and vegetables, which increases fiber, especially if you're having things like soy and edamame in your diet and those whole grains that I was just talking to you about from my pantry. These are all things that have been shown to lower your cholesterol. Whether or not this is going to unclog your arteries, that's unlikely. The reason why is because this whole idea of unclogging arteries is a bit of a misnomer. And if you want to know more about that, I've done a video on how to unclog your arteries in the link down below as well. There is no strategy that has been clinically proven to improve the dilation of your vessels from the perspective of atherosclerosis, but there are things that we know that are in the literature that can improve your cholesterol levels, that can lessen the likelihood of narrowed arteries. And if you want to know more, check out the video down below. If I've missed anything about 30 plant points or you want to know a bit more about them, let me know in the comments. I'll check them out there. Thank you so much for listening.
If you want to improve your heart health and lower cholesterol, then check out this video right here where I do a deep dive into ingredients that can lower your cholesterol and potentially unclog your arteries.